Welcome back to Gospel Kanji. I'm your host, Kent Cisco. When you picture the Magi, what do you see? For most of us, it's the same. Exotic travelers, laying their gifts at the feet of the Christ child. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. What's fascinating, though, is that Matthew gives us only a handful of sentences about these mysterious figures from the East. But he makes sure to list what they brought. We don't get their names or their backstories, but what we do get is their gifts. Why? Why are the gifts so central to this story? Because the gifts might be a clue to who they were. Centuries before the Magi ever set out, Isaiah saw something extraordinary. He wrote, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your dawn." Isaiah 60:1-3. And then he adds this, "A multitude of camels will cover you, young camels from Midian and Ephah, and all those from Sheba will come. They will bring gold and frankincense, and will bear good news of the praises of the Lord." Isaiah 60:6. They will. This is not about what they did. It's about what they will do. They will bring gifts. They will bear good news of the praises of the Lord. Isaiah is seeing more than a visit. He's seeing a mission. These are the men who will carry the praises of the Lord to the remotest parts of the earth. Now, travel east with me to Japan. If you've been there, you know this. Japan has one of the strongest gift-giving cultures in the entire world. It's called omiyage. And it's not just politeness or manners. It's part of their identity. And here's the part that makes Japan unique. In Japan, if you travel to visit someone, you do not arrive empty-handed. You must bring a gift to your host. This isn't optional or simply a nice gesture. It's socially unacceptable not to do it. And these gifts aren't just tossed together. They're prepared with meticulous attention to presentation, wrapped in elegant paper or in a cloth with ornate designs, and offered with the highest etiquette, presented with both hands and a bow. Every detail of the act declares this moment matters, this relationship matters. This is how deeply gift-giving is woven into the Japanese soul. And Isaiah says, men from a culture like this will come to him bringing gifts. And that culture still exists today. But before the Magi ever brought their gifts, God gave first. John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son." God gave his Son, born on earth, wrapped in human flesh, as his gift to us, the greatest omiyage the world has ever seen, has ever received. So when the Magi opened their treasures before the infant Christ, they're only following God's example. God gave his Son born on earth, so they gave him gifts of the earth, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, omiyage. Now, let's look closely at what they actually brought: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. These were not just random gifts or treasures. They were gifts of their homeland, gifts of the earth, carried across the world, laid before the Christ child. And when they returned home, they recorded who they had seen in what they had given. Let's look inside the characters for the kanjis of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Gold carries the symbol for king. The kanji for frankincense carries the symbol for child or son, and the kanji for myrrh carries the meaning of comfort or peace. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Gold is king, frankincense child, myrrh peace. It's as though they left behind a poetic note in the strokes themselves. These gifts were for the Prince of Peace. Just as Isaiah 9:6 had foretold, for a child will be born to us, a son will be given to us, and his name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Eternal Father, Prince of Peace. They met the Prince of Peace. They encoded their testimony in their language, in the gifts that they brought. And here's where Isaiah takes it even further. He says, these men would not only bring gifts, they would bear good news of the praises of the Lord. Isaiah isn't just describing what they carried in their hands. He's describing what they carried in their hearts when they went home. They would go home as witnesses, carrying the good news of who he is, the Prince of Peace. And here's the aha moment. Isaiah says they will bring gold and frankincense and will bear good news of the praises of the Lord. They will. They will bring gifts. They will tell the story. And that is exactly what we're beginning to see. Their story is still here, hidden, embedded, encoded, waiting to be rediscovered in the strokes of Kanji. On their very first journey, they saw the Christ child and gave him gifts. And 3 decades later, during their second journey, they heard the gospel. And they embedded the gospel in the kanji, as we've seen in a few kanji in season 1. The kanji for wisdom, for example, points to the picture Isaiah gives us of the Christ child in his mother's womb, the mouth and the arrow, which Paul also later in the New Testament says Christ is the wisdom of God. The kanji for faith that we saw in season 1 shows a man and the Word. The Word became flesh. The picture of the object of our faith, Jesus. The kanji for the name Jesus himself speaks of the witness of the disciples at Pentecost, that God the Father raised Jesus from the dead. Each of these are bearing the good news of the praises of the Lord. And now, even in their gifts, it declares it. King, child, and peace, the Prince of Peace. Isaiah said, they will bear good news of the praises of the Lord, and here it is, embedded in their words, etched into their language. This is the testimony of the praises of the Lord, and it points unmistakably to Japan, a culture known for its gift-giving, carrying a hidden gospel in its characters. Let's go back to that word, omiyage. It's made of earth and childbirth, or product of. Do you see how both meanings connect perfectly to the story of the Magi? The first meaning for earth and birth is the birth of God's Son, the Christ child, on the earth, the ultimate gift given to us. And the second meaning for earth and product of is the precious products of the earth, like gold and frankincense and myrrh, brought as gifts to the Christ child. The word omiyage itself captures both sides of this story. God's gift to us, his Son born on earth, and the Magi's gifts to him of the earth, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. In most cultures, gifts are a polite thing to do. They're optional, they're nice, but in Japan, they're expected. It's essential. It's almost as if the culture was shaped around this one story. You go out with gifts. You come home bringing gifts to everyone. That's what the Magi did. They went out, they saw the most wondrous gift in history, and they gave gifts to him. They came home with that gift in their hearts, and I believe they brought back more than gifts, which they call omiyage. They brought back good news, which is called omiyage banashi, the stories of their journeys. Think of the ark In episode 1, they followed the star, which is made of day or sun and birth or life. The day someone extraordinary was born, who is the new son of life, the light of life. And now in episode 2, they arrive in Bethlehem and receive the gift of God, the Christ child, and present their treasures to the Christ child, gifts of the earth. And from here, the story will turn, because the gifts weren't the end. They were the beginning of something even greater. The praises of the Lord, going out to the ends of the earth. Here's what amazes me. They were not born followers of God. They were outsiders, pagans, astronomers, astrologers, seekers, and yet God called them. Romans 5:8 says, "But God demonstrates his own love towards us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us." While they were still sinners, God called them to see the gift of his Son. We're going to begin to see the changes that took place in these Magi, their conversion, a transformation. They came as seekers and they left as witnesses, as Isaiah said, that they would be bearers of the good news. And on our next episode, we'll look at some kanji that may reveal their conversion process, how in their journeys, the first journey to see the Christ child and their second journey to hear the gospel, how these two journeys began reshaping their hearts, their identity, and even their mission. Until then, remember this: God gave the first gift freely to everyone. If this story stirred your heart, stay with me. Next time, we'll dig into another mystery and unlock its deeper layers. But for now, subscribe, tap the bell so you don't miss what's coming next, hit like, and please feel free to comment and share this with anyone you might think might be interested in joining us on this journey. This is Gospel Kanji. See you next time.